That's the part that I'm. My first time leaving, I'm inspired. RJ, I'm fine. I've done enough.
No TV. Good evening. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals for August 14, 2024 is now in session. I would like to introduce my board. To my far left is Brian Falkowski and Ashley Garkar. I'm Ivan Valentic. To my right is Davey Rowan. To my far right, is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under the advice of council, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. So if you plan on speaking, please stand right now. And raise your right hand. Okay, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. When presenting your case or commenting, come to the microphone, state your name and an address, and confirm that you've been sworn in. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so this evening we have a pretty full agenda. We're going to move one agenda item around, but we have 3 variances and 1 conditional use permit. A 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny your permit or your variance. As you can see, we have 4 members this evening, so a 3-vote majority is still required. So when you come up to the board, let us know if you do not want to move forward with your case with the 4 members. If that's how you want to move forward, then let us know and you'll be tabled into our next session. If you don't say anything, we're going to assume that you're good with moving forward with a 4-member group. Okay? So first on our agenda is going to be conditional use permit application 2024-29. Anthony Zapatelli is requesting a conditional use permit in accordance with section 13.32 to allow for the installation of a walk-in cooler that would be located outside. This is for the property owned by RNN LLC and located at 7481 Auburn Road, also known as parcel number 08-A-0-00-00-038-0. Heather, can you please provide us a summary of the application?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Okay, up here on the screen over here, I just provided basically a location map of where this property is in question. As the chairman indicated, it's at 7481 Auburn Road, which is actually the Red Hawk Bar and Grill, Restaurant and Grill. The property is zone B1, Restricted Retail District. And as proposed, the applicant is seeking permission to install an 8 by 10 foot walk-in cooler outside of the building. The walk-in cooler will be located approximately 6 inches away from the south wall of the building within an existing parking lot. And pursuant to section 2203, table of uses for the commercial and industrial districts, outdoor storage in association with a permitted or conditional use requires the approval of a conditional use permit in accordance with section 13.32. This next slide, just briefly, a little bit more of a zoomed in map. This is just a GIS map provided from the county auditor site. You can see just that blue little square there next to the building on the south side. That is the approximate location of where this walk-in cooler is. There's a photo of it. It's being installed, in the process of being installed currently. And that is all I have for my quick summary.
Thank you, Heather. That was perfect. Mr. Zapatelli, can you please come up and present your case?
Anthony Zapatelli, I live at 7486 Waterfowl Way, Concord.
And you've been sworn in, sir?
Yes. I want to put the walk-in cooler in there so I can eliminate the one we rent outside that's portable. It costs me about $1,200 a month for 4 or 5 months. And it takes less space, so we can really use that walk-in outside. So, if you have any questions?
Are you familiar with the sections of the conditional use permit 13.32 and 13.05?
No.
You just made a comment that you want a walk-in cooler to
Right.
replace one you're renting?
I'm renting one on wheels
Where's that one currently located?
next to that one. We run it for 5, 6 months, and 5 months, and we usually send it back.
Is that cooler gonna be locked? The
Yeah.
cooler door, it's
Yeah.
locked?
Probably used for produce. Yeah.
Is this the trailer in
Yeah.
the picture? So if you look at this picture,
Yeah,
there's a trailer. You can see the wheels.
That's-
That's what's there currently. So he's renting that, and he wants
Plus I gain another parking spot.
okay.
And we really need the storage space.
Do you plan on putting anything around it or just the way it is?
You put a wood fence in a couple of years, it looks terrible. You know, if we need to, we will. But the cooler's in great shape. You know, stainless steel or aluminum, whatever it is, you know, should last a long time outside.
Yeah, okay.
Is there any plan to put any kind of, not a fence, but maybe some sort of barrier to keep people from running into it?
No,
I mean, I guess that would be one concern I would have is you're gaining a parking spot, somebody pulls in.
well, we
that's
haven't
a-
been using that spot for a long time. You know, it's usually, you know, people running out the back door to go to the back patio. You know, so we haven't been using it. In the past, we usually parked the food truck right there. Not the food truck, the refrigerated walk-in cooler trailer there.
Heather, this
So there's a space. So if they hit it, what are they gonna do? There's only so much damage they're gonna do. But, you know, the car would be minimal, you know, because all, you know, styrofoam panels.
this might be a question for you, but with the comment of replacing it, what's the difference between now asking for a use to have this cooler versus the fact that they've had one for 6 months?
Well, I can say I did not know that they had one on wheels that they were renting out
What's been
monthly,
different,
but the manager of Red Hawk had stopped in asking about applying for a permit to get the cooler that they wish to have outside installed. They were asking about getting zoning approval to do that, which is where I directed them towards the outdoor storage conditional use permit request.
So this is the second year we had the cooler outside on wheels.
I can tell you that I did not know about the cooler on wheels. Otherwise, we probably would have had a conversation a couple years ago about that.
Okay.
And this is to replace that cooler on wheels, so you're just gonna
Yeah,
have,
so I don't have to run one, I have it run right there.
yeah.
So
So
I
at the-
thought if it wasn't a permanent structure, that it could be moved, that we wouldn't have to have an okay to put it out.
But that's not relevant to this conversation.
Okay,
Let's just,
yeah, okay.
we got,
Okay,
I mean, if you do want to put something back on wheels that's temporary, please see the zoning department.
Okay,
That's all I
okay.
ask for. My only, I mean, reading through 13.32, my only comment is, and I've been to the Red Hawk several times, and I went back there to look at, you know, the cooler. Only thing I'm going to ask you is that one of the comments is outdoor storage areas shall be maintained in a neat and orderly fashion. All I ask is, my only comment is that, you know, to follow number 6 on here and just clean up that area a little bit and organize it a little bit more. But I have no other issues or questions for you.
okay, I'll do it.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions?
And again, so this is replacing the trailer. At the end of the day, at some point, there's just gonna be just this cooler.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
This will be permanent.
Yeah,
Okay.
And is it going to be locked up?
it's just gotta be locked up.
Okay. Well, it also says that it needs to be secured by a gate, which it doesn't
No,
seem like
no,
there's a gate.
it won't be wanted, no. A gate, it's like 3 times more work to get in and out.
Okay,
The
well-
door will serve as the gate, is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
that's fine, because it does continue on in the 1332 that it is outdoor storage areas shall be secured by a gate. So that's why I wasn't sure.
Ryan, any questions on your end, or you all set?
Nope, I'm good.
You good, Ashley?
What's in the cooler?
It'll probably be used for produce. Produce put out a gas. So we're gonna try to keep all the produce in there together so it doesn't go to the meat and the cheese and everything else. So we're gonna have a cooler just for produce. Plus, if they ever broke in, there's not much, you know, produce is not gonna break if they steal it.
Okay, because I'm assuming during business hours, will it be unlocked for ease for your
Yeah,
chefs
yeah.
and stuff?
Oh, yeah, we run in and out. Somebody be in there probably 20 times a day.
Okay. But it
You
will be.
ever work at a restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, how many times you gonna walk in cooler?
A lot,
Well-
but So it'll be monitored in the sense where you're not gonna have,
Customers walking in there?
correct,
Yeah.
okay. That would be my biggest concern.
For 2 years with the portable unit, nobody ever went in it. We never locked that one,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
So people are pretty good. Plus there's cameras all over the place.
Okay.
You good?
Good.
Okay.
Good?
Anything else?
Okay, thank you. Please
Thank
be
you.
seated. Is there anyone else here this evening that's speaking for or against this conditional use permit that'd like to come up? If there's no further questions, a public hearing for application number 2024-29 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve conditional use permit 2024-29?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion for the board? Anyone have anything? I'm good with this. You know, he's gonna
I'm good
clean
as
stuff
well.
up. It's secured.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the back. And it's not really visible from the road. So, and it just looks. I mean, it's just a simple grade.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. It was in the back, not visible from the road.
Yeah.
The biggest for me was the locked up and not having random people going in and out and what's in there, and it seems like it's just produce. Historically, it doesn't seem like we see it mention any alcohol in there.
Right.
In the sense of,
I debated on if there should be some type of screening fence or something, but given the location in the back, I kind of thought, what's the point?
Yeah. Kind of thought the same.
it seems like it'll be secured shut when it's not open. When the restaurant is not open,
Yeah.
it'll be secured shut.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah.
Let me rephrase that.
Okay. Well, the question is on the approval of the variance or of the conditional use permit. A yes vote is for the approval of the conditional use permit. A no vote denies the conditional use permit. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Mr. Falkowski,
Yes.
Ms. Garkar,
Yes.
Mr. Valente.
Yes, your conditional use permit's been approved. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is our variance application 2024-159. Christopher Lazuka is requesting a variance from section 34.0 for a one, to allow for the construction of an 8-foot tall privacy fence along the north property line, which will encroach in the front yard in lieu of the maximum 4-foot tall permitted. This is for the property located at 8130 Orchard Road, also known as parcel number 08-A-012-00-017-0. Heather, can you provide your summary?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Okay, up here on the TV screen for you, I have kind of a location map. The parcel in question is on the north side of Orchard Road off of Girdled Road. It's outlined in red there. The property is zoned R1 residential. It's about 5 acres of land. Around it, you'll see to the north, that land is zoned R2 planned unit development. And the other surrounding properties are the same zoning as the applicant's R1. And Mr. Lazuka is requesting a variance on the height of the fence. You'll see on these photos and the map here, he has a single-family dwelling with a shed in the back, but he also has already about 150 feet of 8-foot tall privacy fence installed on his north property line that stops right at the front edge of the house. If you were to line it up, you can see the photo on the right. The red line or in the photo and or the blue line on the map is the approximate location of where the variance request is for, to extend the fence towards Orchard Road an additional 185 feet. Typically, any fence that is between the front edge of your house and the road is only allowed to be 4 feet tall. So his request is to bring that up to 8 feet.
Thank you. Any questions from Heather, from the board? Mr. Lazuka, can you please come up?
Hi, Chris Lazuka, 8130 North Orchard Road. I have been sworn in.
You're good with moving forward?
Good with 4, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, I'm requesting an 8-foot privacy fence, primarily because of the sharp contrast in density with what's going in with Ivy Ridge. I think I provided also a plan of the Ivy Ridge, which calls for, this next phase calls for attached condos right along our property line. So my primary hardship is just really maintaining the privacy that I've been accustomed to, being a single house on 5 acres. So I would like to carry that 8 foot as far up to Orchard as I can. That's about it.
Yeah, and their rear yard's backing up to your side yard. so,
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. And then what's constructed is within where you're allowed to build the 8 foot, so this is just the remaining section. of it.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Just one question. I think I read in the staff report that one concern is, okay, so 8 feet out, but as you get closer to the road, would you be open to sort of grading it down to 4 feet?
Tapering it, yeah, for
Tapering
line
it.
of sight.
Line of sight.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm totally open to that. I would take it as far as I can with what you
Right,
guys tell
I
me
think-
might be reasonable. I mean, the woods are pretty dense all the way up to, really, so whatever is reasonable, I'm
Yeah,
certainly
I
willing
think-
to accommodate that.
I had the same thought, but I thought about it and I looked at it, but then I got to the same conclusion that he did. I'm like, well, there's woods up to that line anyway, which would be blocking the line of sight. So I don't know.
Or even if it's for aesthetic reasons, I'm willing to taper it down right toward the.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think we're looking at like the whole, we're looking for what's reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what other people think, but
Yeah.
I drove by. I think the woods are very, very thick there, so
Yeah.
it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's up to if the board wants to recommend it. That's fine. I think it's okay. 8 foot myself.
Okay.
But I did have my process was the same thought there.
yeah, I'm just trying to looking at this photo here on the front of our report, trying to see. I mean, it looks like there really isn't, as of right now, an entrance there. Looks like it's further up from
Correct, yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
okay, just want to make sure we at least address that.
Yeah, one of those pictures I tried to position close to the front of the new street. I think I forget the new street name. That cuts off the cul-de-sac, but that line of sight down, going up Orchard Road to be able to see traffic coming down.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Any? You guys have any questions?
How, Heather, I don't know if you know this, maybe off the top of your head, how far back is the setback for the new development that he is trying to, the first house?
The
So he
side
wa-
yard setback?
No, yeah, the side yard, because it's gonna be, the fence is gonna be in the backyard of all these new houses.
Right.
So how far is this, what would be the side yard? What is that setback if we said a fence can only go to the houses being built?
I think it can go.
Oh,
up to
off of Orchard Road?
Yes.
So the setback from the right-of-way of Orchard Road for any houses that are going to be developed on the property to the north of him is going to be at least 30 feet.
30 feet?
Yeah, back from the right-of-way.
Okay.
Yeah. But that first house, though, at the corner likely will have some side yard there that they would likely use as their own property.
Yeah.
Right.
So there could be, I mean, there wouldn't be a home there, but definitely some lawn and
Right.
landscaping and who knows what else, so.
Okay. I'm just thinking the line of sight, as you guys were referring to, if there's another street going in.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
I
figure
mean,
out.
yes, right now it's not a big deal, but there's not a street there.
Well, the street is there, so if you did drive by, it is there
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
in.
Yeah.
Is it used? Right? It's
Not being
construction
used
right now.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, there's no houses built
Right.
yet, but it's accessible, like cars are going up and down all the time.
But
Okay.
that fence from that street entrance is going to be, that's further than 30 feet. From that fence to that street entrance is, it might be on that plan, I don't know, 100 something?
I would say at least that.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the tree line down to the street,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This right here, right?
Yeah, I think that's what she's getting at.
Yeah. I think that this is the street, right? So this is his property.
No,
This is
that's the
that's the
street.
existing
Oh, I'm
street.
on the
and
opposite
that's-
side. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Davey, any other
No other
questions?
questions for me?
Ashley, any other questions? Brian, you good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Please
you.
be seated.
And Mr. Chairman, also, we did receive 3 letters of support for this variance request.
Oh, yeah.
One from Dave Vitas, who is a neighbor at 8075 North Orchard. He was unable to attend, but he does agree with the variance being approved. Also, Dick and Julie Bennett that live at 8101 North Orchard Road, they also would like to wish their support for the application. And then finally, Andrew and Sarah Solodin, they live at the corner of Orchard and Girdle Road. They again also think it would be appropriate to approve the variance.
Okay, we'll like to have those entered into the record. Is there anyone here that is speaking for or against this appeal that would like to come up? Okay, great. With that, the public hearing for variance application 2024-159 is now closed to the public. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
I have no issues with this fence personally, so if anybody has any other thoughts, I'm open to listening.
I think if it was my parcel and there was a change of density, I would feel the same way and want the fence. And then I think if you're in Ivy Ridge, since they did a similar fence on Viceroy, I don't think there's a concern if you're in the development either. So I think I would support this for sure.
I think I would like to discuss more the idea of tapering down around the 30-foot part, just because that is, I understand the privacy aspect of wanting to maintain that, but there will be more traffic going in and out, having the trees be all knocked down. You want the privacy, but trees being knocked down, you're going to have a larger sight of vision for all of that.
The trees are on my property.
Yeah,
The trees are,
cut down.
yeah.
Yeah, this is Ivy Ridge. The trees are
Okay.
guys.
Thank you. I don't know. I still go with the 30 feet of matching where the houses, the new houses being built are.
So 30 feet, like stopping the fence or tapering it? and
Tapering
being
it
short?
down of whatever I think right now is a 4-foot requirement at the front. So if we taper, it's up to him. He can either have it or not have it, but still within the 4-foot requirement of the 30 feet that goes by the setback of the backyard or the housing being built. Houses being built on Ivy Ridge.
Yeah, I feel like 30 feet's too much. I could see a panel maybe. I think for everything that has happened with this development and the impact to the neighboring properties and the change in density, I feel pretty strongly that it should just be 8 feet for a good portion of that myself. But I'll let I'll let what you guys decide.
I would say if we were gonna do anything, I think one panel, 4 feet, and then taper, but I also am okay with it being 8 foot. I think the only issue, if there were any issue, I would assume that I don't know if it would be a county issue or some road department issue, and then they would have to address it. But
So how big would you say a panel is? The length of
Let's
a
say
panel?
it's 8 feet.
8 feet. Okay,
Yeah.
I was just trying to think.
Yeah,
in
that's
my
what
mind.
I guess, but
I mean, I would say if it's 8 feet, 4 foot at this end, 8 feet at this end.
it's up to you guys. If we want to make that, we can ask them to.
I really don't have strong
I don't either.
feelings on
feel
that.
like
The
I
woods
might
on
be-
his property are so thick.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I feel like I guess I have the more stronger of opinions of the 30 feet, 4 foot at 30 feet. Just to line up with the buildings.
I mean, we'd have to get the applicant to agree to that.
Well, my question for the board is, are Ashley's on board for making a modification that the first 30 feet are at 4 feet and the rest of it goes to 8? We need to know if the board is in the majority of that recommendation. I'm just gonna, my stance is that I don't think it needs to be at 4 feet for 30 feet. That's my stance on
I'm in agreement with that.
Agreed.
It doesn't need it.
it. That it doesn't need it. Okay.
Do we need anything? Is there a middle ground for you guys?
That's, yeah, do you guys have a middle ground? Well,
I mean, I think
between 4, no, are we asking is there a middle ground between 4 and 8?
Between 30 feet and no feet. I'm saying I really like the 30 feet for 4 feet. Yvonne is saying you don't need any, so I'm saying is there
That's what I don't
a
think
middle
we-
ground, like a 15 feet or
I mean,
whatever the panels are. You seem like they were 8 feet-ish, so
maybe,
16
I mean,
feet,
it could be
whatever a
8 feet,
panel is.
but-
Do like
Okay.
a 15, a 14 to 16 feet, depending on what the panels are, so we don't make him break a panel down.
Yeah. Ask them to transition 1 or 2 panels. It's you guys let me know and I'll ask the applicant.
I'm fine with no panels. I mean, I think that's kind of,
Okay. So as a board, three of us are saying leave it as is.
Okay.
Okay. We'll
Okay.
leave it as is.
Mr. Chairman, if it's possible, can we confirm this was a motion to approve? All I heard was a motion and a second. Is it a motion to approve the application?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Thank you.
I do have, before we go,
Yeah,
is
no,
there
yeah.
legitimately is there a concern within, Heather, concern within Concord of it going 8 feet all the way to the road? I have read the staff report. So what is that concern a little more in detail?
I guess the concern was expressed just because that is typically why we limit the height of fences in front yards. Although, you know, I guess maybe if the other connecting street onto Orchard was maybe closer, maybe I would feel more strongly about it. But, you know, being that the resolution really states that the fence, anything forward of the house is supposed to be that 4 feet. Usually it's sight distance concerns regarding that. So, I mean, if some of you have been over there and you don't have those same concerns, then, I mean, I'm fine with either way that this board decides.
yeah, I
to see
think if the
you
drive,
know.
if the road were next to the property line, I would say, yeah, absolutely 4 feet. But since it's not next to the property line, then I don't really have that concern.
And if it was in a neighborhood, which is a typical neighborhood where we had just lawn, lawn, and we all of a sudden there's this 8-foot panel separating 2 yards, I think it would be in between driveways. It could be a sight distance issue as well, I would imagine. Okay. Well, then I will, Heather, I'm going to ask for a motion then to approve it as the applicant has requested for the variance application. Again, a yes vote will approve it, a no vote will deny it. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Ms. Garkar,
No.
Mr. Falkowski,
Yes.
Mr. Valente.
Yes. Thank you. Your variance has been approved. Okay. Next is variance application 2024-160. Christopher McCarthy and Shannon Clark are requesting a variance from section 15.03A6 to allow for the construction of accessory building that will be 1,125 square feet in lieu of the maximum 1,024 square feet permitted for lots under 2 acres in size. This is the property located at 6240 Colony Drive, also known as parcel number 08-A-16-G-00-035-0. Heather, you want to give us your report?
Sure. Let me get to that real quick. Okay, so the property, as stated, is at 6240 Colleen Drive, which is located in the Kellogg Park Estates subdivision. Here on the map, you can see the parcel outlined in red. It's about a half-acre lot, zoned R1 residential. It's currently developed with a single-family dwelling that has a 2-car attached garage that was built in 1984, an above-ground swimming pool with deck, and there's a sunroom actually under construction currently as well. As proposed, the applicant is looking to construct a 2-story accessory building that will be a total of 1,125 square feet. The accessory building is going to be located in the backyard. You can see on that blue square kind of there in the image on the top left. It's about 20 feet back from the rear property line, 10 feet from the side on the south side. And pursuant to section 1503A6, the maximum square footage for any accessory building in this district for a lot less than 2 acres is a maximum 1,024 square feet. So the applicant is asking for permission to have the accessory building to be 1,125 square feet instead.
What's wrong?
And down there in the corner is just kind of a sketch that was submitted by the applicant of what the style of the shed is going to look like.
And this is currently under construction, the shed.
Based on what was submitted by the applicant, they started some excavation for the foundation.
And did you guys catch this, or?
Oh, no, they submitted, no. So
Okay.
what I had said, that there's a sunroom that's under construction currently. They came in to apply for the zoning permit and decided that they wanted to try to see, instead of changing the plans to reduce the square footage, they wanted to come to you and see if you would approve the slightly larger accessory building.
So the construction's going on for something that is not this building.
Maybe I can let the applicant speak to that, but what he submitted to you had shown evidence to us that he actually started the construction of the accessory building without the permit being approved, yes.
Okay,
So,
I just wanted your
Yes.
take on that, thank you. Would you please come up and present your case?
Hello, my name is Christopher McCarthy. I haven't been sworn in, and I'm okay with proceeding.
And can you state your address for the record?
6240 Colleen Drive in Concord Township.
Thanks.
I, Christopher McCarthy, and my wife Shannon Clark have requested to build an accessory building which violates section 1503A6 by 101 square feet for a property that's under 2 acres. There's also a note on my denial that states that the building is to be used solely for personal use, not for business. My wife and I are formally asking Concord Township to consider this variance based on a few important reasons for us. Last year, on July 23rd, we added a baby boy to our family. That's added for our need for storage. We love our home in a community, but we lack storage. We have a standard colonial with 2 bedrooms being dedicated to offices for my wife and I. A son for a bedroom, and then a master on our second floor. Our first floor has the standard dining room, living room, family room, kitchen and pantry, or hot water tank and furnaces, and then our laundry room. But we don't have a basement, and we have no storage in the attic area or above our garage. It's just not finished up there. Let's see. We have been renting a storage unit from Chestnut Storage for 4 years. It's a 10 by 20, about $190 a month. We had to sell a riding lawnmower last year. We just didn't have room for it with all the stuff that we added for our little guy. Let's see, by adding the shed at its proposed size ensures us that our family will be able to stay in our home for years to come and not have to consider moving to a larger home. We're in construction right now for a 3-season room that will add 480 square feet, so we can have a dedicated play area for our son. With the current plans for our home, we expected to raise our property values closer to our neighbors. The last reason for asking for the variance is the fact that I misinterpreted the square footage calculation when I had the blueprint drawn. I assumed that the total square footage, I assumed that the square footage would not count the areas that came up and you couldn't walk on totally, the half wall, areas of the roof came up, which was completely my misunderstanding. So after we had gotten the approval for the sunroom, because they were there, I figured I would save some dollars and have them dig out the area. So technically no construction is being started on that at all. It's just been dug. Nothing has been started with that. So I understand if the board denies our claim, we will change the size of the building, redig, and replace the footer supports. I made a mistake and I will take full financial responsibility for it if that's what you guys deem. Attached to the photos of our storage unit, which we don't use for any commercial activities. Currently all of our belongings that are in our shed are now in our garage. Waiting for our building to be constructed. There are also photos of the footers that were dug for the accessory building that show what has been done so far. We can promise the Board of Trustees and all the residents of Concord that we never intended to manipulate the bylaws concerning accessory buildings in any way. We also want to make it clear that this building will not be involved in any commercial capacity by my company CLE Exterior Cleaning or CLE Carpet Cleaning, nor will that office in the accessory building be used as an office for either of the businesses. And then I have a letter from my neighbor. They couldn't make it because school starts tomorrow for them, so they could not make it tonight. But they wanted to give a letter of support for us. Yeah, thank you for your consideration. Any questions you have, I can answer for you.
Can you explain how you miscalculated it? I read it in here and I still not fully understanding how.
So when I was reading, because I kind of designed all this stuff, and so when I was reading through, I thought that as the stairs go up, it wouldn't count because that wouldn't be usable storage space where the stairway was coming up on the second floor. And then because it's 24 feet long, my assumption was that a foot or so on the very side, because it's almost a half wall. If you can see I don't know if you could put it up on the board again. But that second floor kind of comes back up, so it's not full standing room. So I misinterpreted. When I talked to Heather, she had said it's wall to wall. So that was my misunderstanding. And so that area.
You went from the inside of the wall.
Correct. So instead of going from the outside, and the top area, I did not assume that would be the same square footage pretty much as the top, because it's not all usable, up there. So 100% my misunderstanding. So behind my property is an open 2 acre lot behind me. My neighbors that are closest to this side of the property, they have given okay. You can't see it from the road because there's trees blocking everything. There's trees and woods next to where this will be built. But yeah, there's no way to see this from the road or anyone else's property except for the property behind mine, which is vacant and you can't build on it.
Okay. We'll include the letter of support into the
Thank you.
record
Appreciate it.
as well. So what's in the garage right now? What else in the garage?
Yeah. So if we look, do you guys have the pictures?
I have those pictures. Is that from your garage or is that the storage?
Oh, you know what? I didn't take the garage. So garage right now has.
You park cars in there?
We don't have room for that right now. So in there is we've got Rubbermaid containers full of clothes. We've got boxes full of baby stuff. We adopted our little guy out of the blue, so we got a lot of stuff donated to us that we didn't need at that time, and we just don't have enough places to put it. So we exhausted our storage unit. So yeah, it's pretty much, and then I have a desk in there and a file cabinet in there for the company that I use in the garage.
Yeah, and I guess I never thought about the company, but you put it in your letter, so I'm not sure why that came up, but there's no equipment for the company.
No, it was on the denial that it had to be used solely for personal uses, not for business. So I just wanted to address it, that it will not be used whatsoever for business. I'm actually in process of either renting a building, or I'm actually in talks right now of buying a commercial property in Painesville. So it wouldn't be any issue at all.
Okay.
You made a comment about an office in this building?
No, there will not be an office in this building for either of my businesses.
Oh, is that just a blank? There's
Yeah.
not.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't be used for anything business-wise.
It's going to be used for storage.
Correct.
Okay. When you
Yeah.
said there was an office, that made me believe you were putting electricity in.
No. Well,
Like,
there
it
will
would-
be electricity in there, for lights and stuff,
Okay.
and a fan, of course, because it's a fairly big building. But I just wanted to put it out there because in the bylaws it says you can't have an accessory building and have an office in that. So I just wanted to clarify that we would not be.
Okay, so this building is to be used for storage purposes only.
Correct.
Okay.
Do you plan on putting any landscape around the building or buffering or screening it out?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so we are going to be doing. There's two little windows in the front. It's kind of like a door entryway out to the side yard. But I don't know in particular of any shrubbery or
Is your
anything.
backyard fenced in?
Yes.
Okay, completely, right?
Yes, correct.
Does the sunroom you're adding onto your house take into account the square foot calculation or change that?
I think it's done by acres.
Based on lot size.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. It's all good.
But now the square footage is including the second floor of this storage unit.
That is correct. The 1,125 includes first and second floor.
And if there was no, I guess the question would be, if there's no stairs going to the second floor, is it still counted? If there's just it's not like you have the shed and then there's a complete second floor. It's like half, right? Or am I?
No, it's a stairway up. Yeah, it's a loft.
Okay.
It's a loft. Yep.
Gotcha. I
So
was thinking,
my question with that though is, if you got rid of the loft area, square footage, meaning how big the accessory building on the outside is would be within the square footage. He's going over because he's going upwards, not because he's going out and expanding. Is that correct, Heather? I'm sorry.
Right.
If-
If
okay.
it was just, yeah, so the first floor is, it's a 24 by 24 foot building, right? So if it literally was just a one story, he would be 576 square feet. Right, so being that it has a second story, second floor, calculated at 549, because they did subtract out the steps that go up there. Right, so if he made it not as tall and just did the first floor, then he would be fine.
Okay.
Right, but he wants to get that little bit vertical height, so it's not going out, it's just going up.
Okay.
so with the stairs, the stairs are not counted as part of that square footage, Heather?
On the second floor, right, they were subtracted out, yeah.
So if the
Yeah.
stairwell went back a little bit further, could you reduce the square footage? I mean, it would be a bigger opening.
I've already messed up the square footage once. I don't want to answer that question.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, if that's, a solution is if you put the staircase back. I don't know how that impacts anything. I'm just trying to find a.
Right.
Just make
Happy
the loft
medium.
100 square foot smaller is what
Yeah.
you're kind of getting at.
The issue I tried to talk with inspectors for Lake County, and I spoke with Heather. You can't. I talked about taking half of the floor out, in the loft, and making it just a drop ceiling or something for the, on that floor over there. But even if I took out half of that floor, it still counted wall to wall with space. That's why it took a little bit long. These were supposed to get approved at the same time, was my goal with the sunroom and then this. So my hope was I was figuring out, took me a month or two to talk to people and see if I could just take out half of the floor on the second floor. And they said, no, that's not an option. So my option was, again, either, apply and have a new blueprints drawn and have it a little bit, smaller, because I still would need the second floor for this adequate storage that we need, and make it, 20 by 24. It would just cause, financial, issues and getting that dug. But again, if that's what the board, asked me to do, I will do it.
I'm trying to remember sheds. Does this square footage? I don't know off the top of my head. Did you have to get a county permit, or do you have? I don't know.
Well, so yeah, once I get it, hypothetically, if I get it approved,
it would
today,
have to
I
go to
still
county.
have to take it to Lake County,
Gotcha.
to have them give the okay. And so
Gotcha.
I'm still about 2 to 3 weeks away from, probably 3 weeks away from being able to start
Gotcha.
construction,
So-
if approved.
Assuming we approve this, you still have to get a county permit because
That's
it's
correct.
over whatever the max is for not getting the county permit.
Correct. Now they've made it clear they don't care about the zoning stuff. They just worry about the building and how it's constructed and things like that. So they
So
would
basically,
give
if we
it-
say it's okay, then
Right.
if it meets all their criteria,
Correct.
it'll probably be
Yeah,
okay.
they would have hypothetically, again, talking to the
Right.
inspector without, being on record, of course, he goes, this would hypothetically be approved, it's just it can't come to us yet until it gets approved by
Gotcha.
Concord.
Heather, a question for you. If he just took out, I'm more getting on the outside square footage. If he took out the second floor and the stairs, this would be completely approved. There's no height requirements within zoning.
He meets the maximum height requirement, yeah. But I think if he were to do that, he probably wouldn't do the same building.
He wouldn't do it.
Because there would be no point in making the structure that tall and because
Right, no, I understand, but I'm just saying,
right,
just
yeah.
hypothetically, you just knocked out the stair for the outside square footage of what
Yeah.
you're seeing on the property. If he took out the second floor, we would still approve it, and it would be fine.
You wouldn't even need to be.
He wouldn't need to be here. He
Correct.
just took out the second floor.
Correct.
So hypothetically, if he took that out or didn't, it still looks the same, most likely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was more concerned about the
Okay.
aesthetics of
Okay.
outside.
Yeah.
And you're painting this to match the house, or what, shingle, all that?
So what we're doing with the sunroom will be the same as the house. It'll have a black metal roof instead of the typical shingle roof.
Okay.
This shed will have the same black matching same matching black metal roof that the sunroom has currently. It'll have the same white and black aesthetics as the house and as the attachment wall, or sunroom wall.
Is it vinyl siding or is it?
Yes. Yes.
The shed will be vinyl siding.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I have no other questions.
Ryan, any other questions?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Please be seated. Is there anyone else here this evening that's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? If there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance application 2024-160 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve the variance application 2024-160?
Motion.
I get a second?
Second.
Thanks. Discussion? I don't know if we should, I kind of feel like we should go through the Duncan factors if somebody wants to go through that or read through it, or I don't know how you guys feel, if there's anything else you want to talk about.
I think it's a good idea we go through it and then we can discuss.
So the first is whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return or whether there will be any beneficial use of the property without the variance.
So I would say the beneficial return, I think it will help with the property value. I think, keeping the house and shed aesthetics is, I like that, color matching and that. I don't think it would take, it's serving a purpose. He's gonna use it for storage. The alternative is now he's got his garage full of stuff, his cars are outside. So I think there's, a lot of benefit to the community and to the applicant.
The second one is the variance substantial? I don't know, 10%, it's not that.
Well, I think to Ashley's point is if there were no second floor, it would be approved.
We wouldn't be here.
Yeah. So I think for me, we're not talking about a significantly, it's not like it was a huge shed because without the second floor, he could still get it approved. It wouldn't even actually be here.
Right.
It would just be
That was my biggest thing, is the outside, without the second floor, the outside would still be exactly the same. Like, we could say, keep it, get rid of the second floor though, and he's not here and it still looks the same.
Yeah. So
On the outside of what
Yeah.
the public eye sees.
good point. So it's not substantial, I guess is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Well, the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or whether adjoining property owners would suffer substantial detriment as a result of the variance. He got a letter of support, and it sounds like he's doing a nice job with it. It's going to look good. Whether the variance would adversely affect government services? No. Whether the property owner purchased the property with the knowledge of the zoning restrictions? We didn't ask him that, but we'll
I think
see.
he owned up to, miscalculating.
So he was
square footage.
trying to follow the zoning
Right.
requirements. Whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be alleviated through some method other than the variance. I guess, you could get, Todd's always says, get rid of his junk or go back to a unit, but
Yeah. He could
yeah,
make it smaller and be fine.
get rid of the second floor, yeah.
He admitted that if we tell him to make it smaller, he'll make it smaller. So he can.
Yeah. The last was whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance.
I'll go back to Ashley's question about would he even be here if there wasn't a second floor? And I think that, that's key for me to a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other discussion points from you guys on the board? Okay. Question then is on approval of variance application 2024-160. Yes vote approves the variance request, no vote denies it. Heather, please call the vote.
Ms. Garkar,
Yes.
Mr. Rowan,
Yes.
Mr. Falkowski,
Yes.
Mr. Valencic,
Yes. The variance application has been approved. All right. Next, we have variance application 2024-161. Tony Milam is requesting a variance from section 22.04D, table 22.04 to allow for the construction of an accessory building with a 28-foot front building setback in lieu of the minimum 50 foot required. This is for the property owned by ML-CFC 2007-7 Friedel Drive LLC and located at 7531 Cryle Road, also known as permanent parcel number 08-A-019-B-00-012-0. Heather, can you present this application?
Sure, just a quick summary report. As mentioned, this is at 7531 Cryle Road, which is located within the Gristmill Shopping Center. This is a variance request for the owner of Sunny Street Cafe, which is the restaurant that is located right there at the intersection of Friedel and Cryle Road. The property also has another couple other commercial buildings there, restaurants, banks, medical offices, and the grocery store. As proposed, the applicant is seeking permission to construct a 384 square foot garage at the front of the property between where the existing fenced-in dumpster enclosure is and the gas meter. You have a photo here. The photo on the left is kind of showing with the red arrow. They're pointing the location of where the building would be located. That is the view from the parking lot facing Cryle Road. And the bottom right-hand image is a rendering of the proposed garage. The garage will be located 28 feet back from the west property line, which is the front property line, Cryle Road, right away. And pursuant to section 2204D, table 2204, all buildings require a minimum front building setback of 50 feet. This building is proposed to be 28 feet back.
And
I can provide a little bit more unless you would like the applicant to come up.
I thought I had a question for you. Any other follow-up questions for Heather before the applicant comes up?
Not right now.
So
Okay.
I do have a quick question. So the building the restaurant, does that meet the setback requirements?
Yes.
The existing building,
Yes.
the restaurant. Okay.
Okay. Would you please come up and present your case?
Yeah. Tony Milam, 7316 Gallant Way, and I have been sworn in.
And you're good with moving forward with the four members of the board instead of 5?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the building, I put together a nice packet for you guys showing the building and the location, and basically where it's being positioned is really like, we feel like the perfect location for it because we have a dumpster enclosure there now, and we need to improve that area, and this building would just set in conjunction with that. And right now, it's some arvida trees that are super high. They're about 14 feet tall probably, and so there's really no change to the view line from the roadway or anything else like that. And also the dumpster is already in that location, so I mean it's within the setback as well. So if there's any questions on the location and also the use of it, you know, we've been really expanding business at Sunny Street. And now we have to buy a lot more supplies, and we also keep a lot more equipment than we ever had to do. Being open 7 days a week, it's requires us to have some backup equipment in case anything breaks. So we keep that in storage. Right now, we have all our storage in different locations, and we have to go chase it down. So there's a lot of running around to get things and moving supplies around. We'd like to bring it all together in one place, and that's why we feel like this is a real important need for us.
So this is in the garage would be supplies or equipment for the restaurant?
Yeah, just for the restaurant, right.
I do have 2 questions for you about the garage. First one is the aesthetics of it. it is very different than the current building and all the other buildings that are on the property, the other businesses. Currently, it does state within our zoning that it's supposed to match. Is there a reason that you guys chose different colors, different roof colors, that kind of stuff that does not
But we
match?
haven't really chose exactly the colors. I didn't, this wasn't really a design review. I didn't think. It was more of location. We still have to go through zoning. The landlord, who's approved this, hasn't really approved the final design yet. That all has to go through the design part. But we basically gave them an idea, and they've given us, this is an approved design at this point, as far as like the structural and what it'll look like. The actual colors and things, we think we'll be pretty close to that. That's why we presented that.
So we'll be close to that, which doesn't match the rest of, I think what Ashley's asking, the rest of like the development.
Right.
So, Heather, may I ask a question? Does this go to the zoning commission at all?
No.
Okay.
Accessory buildings smaller than 1,500 square feet are just approved by a zoning permit.
Okay.
So that's my first question / concern is the fact that these drawings, and especially that does not go to another body, it's just us. It does not match Sunnyside or the other buildings behind Sunnyside, kind of. So that's,
Yeah, I think where you're going, I agree. I think from an aesthetics, if we could have it match either the Sunnyside building or the complex as a whole, I think that would look, it wouldn't stand out as much, I think, is what we're
Well,
saying.
that's our goal there, and we actually did drawings for a permanent structure originally, but there's an issue with the type of ownership that it has now. It can't be a permanent structure built on the site. They can't add or subtract from the plaza under the state that it's in, because it's owned by the original lender owns it, and it's in some sort of trust that it's called a REMIC trust that can't add or subtract. So having this type of structure works out better for them.
So it's clear, according to what you know, you cannot add to the building, the existing building, to create storage. That's why you have to go to this.
Well, I wouldn't have a space, there's no space for it anyway.
So you have to go to this garage.
That's why we're using this, when it's within, we're always walking to the dumpster, and it's right there, so it's very accessible from how we operate right now.
So can we clarify the materials that are being used? Like what's the side, what materials on the side, what materials on the roof?
The building that's being proposed is a metal roof building,
Right?
and the siding is called a smart side, and it's paintable to any color you want. But
So is it like
and we
a,
did the two-tone because that's the way all the buildings are in the plaza. There's a tone on top and there's a tone on the bottom.
so it's like a composite material?
It's like a composite material, yes.
And there's no stone like the buildings have in the development, right?
There's no stone in this proposal.
Yeah, I think where there's some confusion is the picture that's here is showing vertical siding, but then this graphic is showing stone on the LNR Partners paper, Exhibit B.
right.
It shows a tiny bit of stone on the front, and it shows more of a shingle roof.
We left
but this
that.
one is metal.
We left that in the package just to show where the architect was when we learned that we couldn't build a permanent structure. That's where they were with this. And this shows the tie-in of how the dumpster enclosure ties into the structure. And that's the purpose of that drawing there. But changing the actual shed part of it was what we had to do here. Go to that more temporary, well, not temporary, but a removable structure that needed to be removed.
So it's gonna look closer to this.
That's what we're saying, we're trying to put in now, is that look rather than what's in that drawing. The reason that drawing there again is to show the enclosure of how the dumpster enclosure fencing works with the building.
So if it's closer to that picture though, both pictures I'm looking at what the rest of behind Sunnyside looks like. It does not look anything like the structures within the property that it's going on.
Can I ask a
Well,
question?
if that's gonna be a requirement, I mean, we can make that look, but we didn't know that this was, part of it, like a design review for this part of it.
So if we approve it, we would add a condition that it matches the existing building, and you bring in the updated color samples and an image, and Heather and the zoning department would confirm that it matches. You'd be okay with
Yeah,
that?
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
That was my first one.
yeah.
My second one is these pictures showing looks to be a hangover over top of the garage.
That aesthetic piece over the garage
That
door?
aesthetic piece, for how close it is to, you have a gas meter on one side and dumpsters on the other. The trucks going in and out with where parking spots lay versus where you have to go to get the correct trucks on either side of the garage. Can trucks fit underneath that? Is that going to cause problems? Is it too close?
It
Can
won't-
trucks still get into?
It will not be even close to the roadway. It'll be several feet back from the actual roadway, the
No.
parking lot.
Everything you submitted to us is right up on the curb. There's a picture right here, Exhibit A from L&R, where it actually almost borderline looks like the structure is on the curb, which I understand you cannot build a shed on a curb, but
And I think,
Well, where you're looking at if you look, are you looking at like this picture, for example? Where we're showing just the
Exhibit A
entire,
from your lawyer. Well, not your lawyer, the lawyer of the property.
right, okay. So this one here. Correct?
Well, this
No.
is Exhibit A.
This is Exhibit A. Like it has circled up,
Oh, yeah.
but then it also
Okay.
has in black where the shed would be going, and this black
Well,
aspect right
but
here is showing
be-
right
before
on the
the
shed.
Before
or
you
curb.
get to the shed, there's a little apron that'll be put in there to go to the shed, so that we can roll, tarts and things in. So there's gonna be an apron, so you can roll right into the door.
None of that's shown on.
Yeah,
the
none of that's
plan.
shown on here, and that's also then gonna raise even more concerns for me of getting trucks in and out in that area, because that is a parking lot, and you have
Well, the
two-
apron is not in the parking lot. It starts at the curb line and goes to the building.
But then that pushes it even closer
Right.
to
Yeah, then
Cry.
the setback's even closer to Cry.
No, that's already configured in the,
I didn't see anything about an apron in here.
If that's the case, then we don't have the full plans, and I don't.
But if you look at the back end of the existing dumpster enclosure right now matches the back end of where the building will be, and then it'll go forward the 24 feet. And then there'll be, apron of somewhere around 2 to 3 feet.
Are you taking that curb out then?
The curb would be reduced there, yes.
Mr. Chairman, there was no conversation from the applicant regarding any removal of any, curb or modifications to the parking lot. This zoning permit that was denied was merely placing this garage and replacing the dumpster enclosure. There was no
Replacing the
indication of
dumpster
it.
enclosure?
Replacing the fencing that goes around the dumpster and putting down the shed for the site plans that were submitted. So if there are other modifications happening, the township is not aware of.
And this this variance is also though for the setback. changing of the setback as well.
That's the only request he had.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you
yeah.
said changing the fence, that's where I was confused.
Right, well, okay, so the variance has nothing to do with the fence enclosure for the dumpster. That is
Okay.
already there, pre-existing. He can replace that in kind with no variance. The question tonight is on the garage location itself.
Right.
And the zoning permit application that was submitted showed that the garage was going to be placed right on the back side of the curb and go 24 feet back, which is where all the measurements were taken from.
Right. So I guess with what you have been stating does not reflect what is in our packet, and I personally don't feel comfortable approving something that I cannot see at all. There was the physical aesthetics, was the questioning. There was the hangover of how a truck can get in and out, but now we're talking about changing up the curb a little, where it actually does or doesn't lie on that piece of property, that area.
Well, you know, the 24 feet is to match up. We're matching up the back end of the dumpster area that's already there, and going forward 24 feet. That does not go all the way. It's part of the area. Then you have to improve the area in front of the garage door. You know, we never expected that to be a major discussion here, because that's something we're going to go through when we get to like the design review part of it.
So that's the issue, is there is no design review. There is no, if we say you get a 24 setback, you get to put the shed in, correct, Heather? If we approve a 24-foot setback,
A 28-foot.
28-foot,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The 28-foot setback as requesting, then he can put the shed just as long as it's 28 feet. So this is the only point in time that it will be presented among any board
Yes.
about the
That's
idea
correct.
of what the front aesthetics is, whether it matches and follows other zoning, as well as the hanger over the garage or the changing of the curb.
Correct.
Okay. Sure.
The issue, I think, is that if the shed's 24 feet, and now you're doing 2 to 3 feet of something in front of it, you know, if you do the math, now you're talking about maybe needing 27 feet of, call it, improvement area. And I don't know if that setback, what you're requesting, works with that, what you actually need.
It definitely does. That's why we've tied, you know, we've measured this thing plenty of times to know where we're at. And we just basically showed the general area of, you know, the entire area where the 24 by 16 shed goes. But you just can't put the shed down and without creating the access to it, you know?
No, I
The
get
apron
it.
and whatever is needed to make that happen, we have to make it nice, you know, so we actually can make it usable.
No, I understand what you're saying, and then I agree that you need to do something, but the drawings from the LNR don't show us, they don't show that. That's where I think there's confusion. That's why I apologize, that's why we're asking questions. So we're trying to understand the situation.
I guess as it's shown in what we've received in our packet seems to be for what my concerns are of what has been shown in this packet are not, as you are stating, not valid concerns because you're doing something different, which then raises more concerns of if I don't see what we are actually approving of what's going in this place, what the shed is. You're telling me something completely different than what I'm physically looking at.
I don't think it's that much different. Like, the only thing is the approach into the building. You know, if I just stuck the shed on the curb, it's not gonna look appropriate. I mean, all we're trying to do is get the approval for the setback from the roadway, because we already have something in the setback now.
So, all right, you're looking at 28 feet. You're adding from that 28-foot setback, you're proposing a 24-foot by
16?
but I'm looking at the
The
24
original
feet.
building we were gonna do when the drawings were done was actually 28 feet.
Right,
So
but
we've actually
what I'm
moved
getting
it.
at is you got a 28-foot setback from the road,
Yeah.
adding 24 feet to that. Now you're at 52. Does that? I'm just trying to figure out. Like, I think we're struggling with the way the drawings are. It's not clear where exactly the beginning and the end of the shed is in relation to the setback.
What's the dimension from the fence to that curb? I haven't seen it.
The fence is there now?
Yeah, to the curb. That will clear, I think that will clean up everything, if you could tell me what that is.
That's about 28 feet, because that's where our original plan was to go back even an extra 2 feet with both structures. And not 2 feet, it was 4 feet. We were gonna go back 4 feet and go closer to the road with the original drawings. But when we went to the 16 by 24, that brought us back to the original line that's already there, where the dumpster is now.
So it sounds like,
So if you start at the dumpster and you go 24 feet forward, you still have room before you get to the curb.
okay. Okay, that helps clarify, but that's, what we're saying, we're not necessarily seeing that in the submittal, but thank you for the clarification.
We didn't, I'm sorry we didn't put that in there. I mean, I didn't think that was, the only thing that she asked about was are the trucks gonna be interfered with as they drive up that and make our deliveries? And we definitely wouldn't wanna do that, because those are our delivery trucks, and we wouldn't want our building hit. So that definitely would not hang over the roadway.
And then another question I have is that, because this variance is for this location, if we approve it, so the shed would have to go here. Have you talked to the gas company? I don't know. I would just think that they could have concerns with, one, putting a structure like this that close to the gas meter. Two, how do their gas lines actually go in to that meter? I'm not sure if they come in right off of the pavement. Do they loop through that area, or how do they?
The gas company meeting has been going on continuously. Today we met one last time because I told them we were coming for the variance and we needed to get moving on. There's a movement that they're gonna make us pay for to move a gas line out of the site. It's not an active gas line, it just tees off and goes in that direction. And they said it's not an issue, we'll do that for you. So the gas company's on board with this, yes.
Okay.
Are there other permits needed for moving gas lines that is to do with Concord and the property owner?
That's not, is that relevant to this discussion? If that, he'd have to get that approved, right?
If any permits were required for moving of the gas lines, it would be with the building department.
That's the building
So
department.
there's nothing with Concord?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I think we talked about the dimension thing and talked about the aesthetics of it. The gas line, the overhang is a good point. Are you gonna, I don't know if this is the best location, but I understand why you're trying to put it there. Maybe it is the best location, but are you gonna screen this at all from the road, or are you just gonna let this kind of sit in between these two fenced areas?
Well, it's already, we're gonna make it a nice enough structure that it looks appropriate there, first of all, but there is landscape all around. You can see the bed right behind it that has plantings in it.
Those are I didn't know if those were getting removed.
No, just, they're outside of like, if I look at either one of these pictures.
These are all coming out. These are all coming out, right?
Those are coming out.
Yeah.
So you really don't have
Oh,
any
you're saying this
change
is
to the view.
behind.
We wouldn't want to change our view line anyway. We want to be seen as a restaurant. Sunny Street is, bright and sunny. So we want to be seen. We definitely don't want to ruin our visual with the building. We're just we think it blends in well. First of all, the road's up here and, there's a drop down from Carl Road down to where this building is. So the height doesn't come up where it really blocks a lot. It's same as those trees that you see now or that are there.
How often are people going into the garage? Like, is it every day? Is it
It'd be
multiple times?
almost daily.
Multiple
Because
times a day?
we have storage now that we've outgrown and we can hardly get into the building, because there's so much stuff in there. And then you got other sites you gotta go to get things. So it'd be a very active, well, not very active, but you're gonna have a man door to go in for most of your supplies. The bigger stuff is like, when we gotta roll carts or bars and things like that in if we're hosting a private event or something like that.
Did you think about or look at other places on the property to potentially put it, or this is where you focus your efforts so it was adjacent to the building?
This just makes the perfect sense because we really don't have any other, you know, we're a very small back of the house operation.
Yeah.
We're not like the Red Hawk who's expanding out and, you know, able to build things. We're very tight inside and no storage inside. That's the only little shed that we have now is out by our patio, and we've well overgrown that. So we have a storage unit out off site, and we have to store stuff at other locations as well.
Yeah, I struggle with putting if we get the aesthetics right, which you said you'd be willing to do, which is
Yeah.
great. I
We
struggle.
want it to look right. I mean, I mean that's part of our appeal is how we look as a
Yeah.
restaurant
I just struggle
or an
with
operation.
I struggle with a garage sitting out in the middle of a parking lot. Essentially, that's what I struggle with. The look, the feel, someone driving through, someone, you know, the other people using, you know, the other tenants of that whole area. If you talk to anybody else, if they were on board with this or any
Well, obviously
issue,
the landlord is the one we worked with, and you know the main manager of the property. We worked with several people within the ownership to get to this point.
okay,
I mean, they wrote an approval letter, you know, with the exhibits. We have it, you know, we amended a lease for this structure as well,
okay.
and they approved the location.
So I think you already said this, but I just want to confirm, this is really a portable structure. This isn't a poured foundation or anything. So what is the floor of this wood then? So it goes on a gravel base basically and then a wood
Yeah,
floor?
gravel base would be basically out of sight. I mean, we have lawns around it, and you know, then you're into the parking lot. And
Well, I will say that even before we started this discussion, just when I read through my packet, my biggest concern was putting a shed in front of a plaza. It's not the standard of what you would see.
but the back of the back of the building looks like, you know, a nice looking structure. And again, it's hidden into the hillside, a lot of it too.
I guess I don't know what it looks like. though.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
Anything else? I think we're good. You have anything else to add before we close up?
No, I just hope you can support it. I mean, there was a lot of questions, but it's a very neat thing for us. We appreciate your support.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else here that's speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay. If there's no further questions, a public hearing for application number, variance application 2024-161 is not closed to the public. Can I get a motion to approve variance application 2024-161 with the amendment that Mr. Elam agreed to, that he would match the existing aesthetics of the existing buildings within the development and bring those, you know, his updated improvements to Heather and the zoning department for review and approval prior to ordering and constructing the building.
Brady, I have a question.
Sure.
Should we have a motion for the variance and then propose an amendment?
Either way is fine.
Okay, so we're okay. So moved.
Second, someone?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Who would like to start?
I personally think there's just too many variables that I'm not sure I feel comfortable with an approval with all the variables that are not set in front of me. I don't think I have all the information to be able to necessarily approve. I know we asked the questions, but I feel like as we asked questions, more questions ended up coming. There's just a lot of variables that even if we did it as an amendment, there's so many variables, and how you do or don't follow those amendments are still up for objection and not necessarily set in stone. How you follow what can or whatever the situation is of whatever amendments.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get where the applicant's coming from. I get needing more storage. I don't know if this is the best location, or I mean, I don't know that he has an alternative. That's the other side of it, is what is the alternative? But I do think there are a lot of outstanding questions that make it concerning. What are your thoughts?
I think, yeah, I agree. I don't know if there is a better location. I don't know if I think this is the right thing to do either, but I'm struggling with it myself.
Yeah, I think it's a great business that we all support. I'm concerned with with the setback and then putting a portable unit in front of the plaza. I don't think it creates the best look aesthetic-wise, regardless of how close it matches. I'm really struggling with this one.
Someone want to read through the Duncan factors if they have them handy? We can maybe discuss them that way.
And I do agree. I have a lot of questions about what the final
That's
proposal
it.
really is.
I'm struggling with the following of the intent of the shopping center as it was built and is continually, growing all around and being harmonious. I'm struggling with keeping that the same without knowing what it looks like. I guess I'm saying I'm not 100% against it, but I don't have enough information in the packet proposed in front of me to be, yes, this is a great idea.
Okay, Ryan, any other thoughts?
No.
Can I make additional comment? Ryan, can he? Yep, coming up. Oh, you have to please come to the microphone now. Thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, I just thought that the main part of what we were asking for was the variance for the setback to 28 feet. Not all the other details that you're contemplating right now. It didn't seem like that was the point of what we needed to come here for, to go over all the design type review type things. So honestly, I apologize for that, but I promise you we will make it look appropriate. It will not look like a temporary structure either. It will look the way that we're, we'll do the groundwork and the site work. It's going to look like it blends in perfectly with the ground. It'll look like a permanent structure. So I just want to make sure
Yeah, I think
clear on how we came here and the approach we took at this.
Yeah, so for us to approve a variance to build the structure, we want to know what we're approving. It all becomes part of the record. That's the concern.
Yeah.
Right, is there an option to, if the applicant is willing to, at this point, to table, is it a matter of withdrawing the motion and then moving to table if the applicant is willing to maybe get more information?
Sure, you can do either one, where the applicant suggests, hey, can I have more time to come back with revised plans or updated and additional information that you're requesting, or you can ask him to do that and postpone it.
I guess the question for you then is that something that you want to do? Do you want us to go forward with 4 members or postpone table for the next meeting where we'll hopefully have 5 members and gather more information, present more evidence, data of what your plan is?
But just to elaborate, the point of the point of postponing or tabling your submittal isn't because we have 4 or 5, it's just, we would expect for you to come back with more detailed
Yeah.
information and revised based on just some of the questions we heard and hopefully address them a little bit more clearly if you wanted to do that, or just go ahead and vote tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough decision. I mean, I'd love to give you more details, but I can't do that right now other than what I've explained so far. And
Is there a fee to fill out an application? And if we, I don't know who I should be redirecting this question to. If we, hypothetically, we deny this, could we deny it with the thing that says if he would like to reapply with all the information we discussed, we could waive the fee for him? I don't know if there is a fee or not. Since
There's fees for applications, but I think from a legal standpoint, Brady might want to chime in on this.
Sure, so Heather can't waive the fee, but the BZA
we can. Okay, I mean, with that,
I mean, and keep in mind, if you deny it and actually vote tonight to deny it, it would have to come back substantially different. Because you can't, because of res judicata, you cannot be looking at the same plan. It has to be materially different than what he's presented tonight.
now when you say materially different, currently with what I have in my hands is a metal roof siding versus a normal roof. Would that be considered materially different, going from a metal roof to actual shingles, going from this kind of siding to something that looks more like siding? Is that considered materially different? The questions that we're asking, would that be considered materially different for us to look at it again?
But it's the same variance request, though, the same,
Okay.
footage. So that would be a challenge. We have to look at that actually. So if you want him to come back for more information, I would recommend that you guys make the motion
To table.
to ask him to come back with more information and specifically request what that information is that you would need.
Okay. So your suggestion is tabling it with the request of more information versus a deny and do another application from start.
Correct, because I think it's gonna be tough to get a materially different, because what we have in front of us is, if I'm hearing correctly, sounds slightly incomplete. And
Okay.
so what would be then materially different would be a tough thing
Okay.
to analyze.
yeah, as far as the match goes to, Grist Mill, there are different colors and different spots in Grist Mill. All the buildings are a little more bit different, just so you know. And we're able to match those whatever is, in roof design, paying the metal roof was actually more expensive than doing a shingle roof. So we'd be happy to, what I would call, bring it down to whatever is needed to match.
I think there's more to it than just the matching though, because it sounds like there's a lot of unanswered questions as to exactly, like, I think we were taken aback by the front of it taking the curb out, like that was an unknown. I think we want to get as much information as to what the plan is so that we can approve what's actually going to be there versus, hey, we approved this shed assuming the curb would be there, and now it's different. It may be set back a little bit further based on what we saw in the design. And just getting clarification on those things. I think that is what we're looking for.
Okay,
It's just-
I can understand that. I mean, I've dealt with other communities where there was a design review process to go
Well,
through.
and so in this case though, I think because of the size of the building, you're under the requirement for the design review. But again, I think it's a lot of, just there's a little bit of questions about like what exactly are we approving, a setback for what? Like what is entailed in all of this? And I think that's where I'm struggling. I don't know.
So a large struggle is, a small struggle is the aesthetics of what it looks like. The largest struggle that I had is the pictures that I am seeing drawn out in my packet is a very large rectangle that is larger than the shed itself. Where exactly is the shed being placed for the setbacks, as well as what the front of the shed looks like compared to how far away it will be from the curb, with the hangover for getting that actually in our packet to consider for trucks going by, trucks getting into the dumpsters and stuff like that. That is not laid back. The aesthetics itself within a design review, as it's been kind of said, minimal concerns of that. It's more of, I struggle approving something when I don't know exactly where it's going to be located. You're just giving me a big rectangle and saying it's going to be in here someplace. That's
So,
the more information that I'd be asking for.
so question, would you like to go forward or would you like for us to table?
It sounds to me like that'd be best to table it and get you the more details.
Okay, so just to be clear, what we would ask from you is, get us closer to what the colors, the look and feel will be more similar to grist mill, and a site plan that has dimensions and fits within, closer to what the actual area will be and how things line up, where the curb is, and if you're putting in a new curb, or how you're doing that, and that apron and all that stuff, and where that overhang is, just a little bit more of that detail that I think everyone's looking
Yeah,
for.
glad to do that.
I think we need to make a motion to table with those requirements, correct?
I think it would be easier to do it
Okay.
that way. That way it's part of the record, but
Okay.
when you had explained it, but maybe a motion would be.
Okay. I guess I would like to. Do we need to close off the other motion?
No.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I would like to make a motion to table this variance 2024-161 with the understanding that the applicant will provide more information, including the outside aesthetics of the structure as well as the exact location of the structure within his 16 by 28 rectangle he's showing, with anything else that would be overhanging outside of the curb into the parking lot, including any curb modifications that would be directly going to the curb or the parking lot.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll table that to next month. Okay. Let me keep that one. All right. Next is variance application 2024-162. Tony Elam is requesting a variance from section 13.34B to expand the outside dining area into an area that will occupy or interfere with traffic circulation, required parking areas, or pedestrian areas, which is not permitted. A second variance is requested from section 13.34F, which requires one parking space per 100 square feet of outdoor dining area, where no additional parking will be provided for the proposed expansion of the outside dining area. This is for the property owned by ML-CFC- 2007-7 Friedel Drive LLC, and located at 7531 Corral Road, also known as permanent parcel number 08-A-019-B-00-012-0. Heather, you want to give us,
Heather, I think I'm gonna push these forward, if that matters.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, would you
Yeah,
like him
you'd
to
have
come
to
up
come
real
up.
quick before we get into this? Thank you.
Yeah, the next two proposals that are there.
I'm sorry, can you state your name and address for the record?
Tony Milo, 7316 Gallant Way.
and you've been
I've
sworn
been
in.
sworn in. For the next two items on the agenda, I was gonna wait on both of those.
To have a full board.
Have a full board, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so do we don't have to table it, we have to go to a vote to table that then?
I think it just may be easier.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Yep. All right,
I'll make a motion to. Can we table both of them at the same time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to table per the applicant's request, variance application 2024-162, as well as the amendment of conditional use permit application 2021-15 until the next meeting.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll see you in a month. Thank you. The other item is our a motion on the meeting minutes are these from June 2024? I don't know if we did not have a meeting in July, so there's no July minutes. Can I get a motion to table the approval of the meeting minutes from June 2024 for our next meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, the minutes are tabled. for our
Can
next
I ask why May 8th minutes are tabled? It's on our agenda, it's listed May 8th table.
Right, we just received them actually today, and I did not email them to you. I figured you would not have ample time to review those, so
Okay, so that's
you will
like
have those too.
for next, okay.
For the next.
I saw that, I just wanted to clarify that.
Good
Thank
catch.
you.
I did not see that. Thank you. Okay,
Next meeting.
yeah, so, our next meeting, I don't have a date. Do I have a date?
September 11th?
Yeah, September 11th, 2024 is our next meeting. The Concord Township Board of Zoning Appeals for August 2024 is now adjourned.